Amigos, buenas tardes. Les saluda su amiga Elizabeth Madrid. Seguimos aquí desde Techtown, Detroit. Estamos en Toss Up the Town en este evento anual organizado por Techtown que celebra la innovación y el emprendimiento en la ciudad. En esta celebración pues se conectan empresarios, inversores y líderes comunitarios para reconocer y apoyar a los emprendedores que están impulsando el crecimiento económico de Detroit. Y ahora nos encontramos con ModMod, que proporciona gestión de activos para tuberías principales de agua potable subterráneas. Datos, la herramienta de inspección al robot submarino autónomo de ModMod recupera información real del interior de la tubería mientras el servicio de agua permanece conectado. Descubrimiento ModMod combina video, datos acústicos y evaluación de condiciones con alineación geoespacial para localizar e identificar problemas como fugas, grietas y corrosión para brindar a las ciudades una imagen clara de su sistema de agua. Welcome. What is your name?
I'm Oksana.
Roxana? Oksana?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oksana, ¿cuáles son las mejores prácticas para el mantenimiento preventivo de tuberías de agua potable subterráneas? What are the best practices for preventive maintenance of underground drinking water pipes?
This is a good question because currently our preventative maintenance involves utilizing old plans that we have of the structure of the system, utilizing predictive modeling, so using a lot of really smart math to predict where a pipe would fail. So we have pipes that are over 100 years old. In the city of Detroit, we have pipes from 1837. So there are some old pipes that are ready for replacement. But to ensure that municipalities are spending their money well, they use estimations and a little bit of planning ahead. Sometimes they will excavate and look into the pipes, do a little bit of inspection, and what we had found is that a lot of the times we need to confirm how these pipes are doing without disturbing the systems, without disrupting service, which a lot of inspections do. They disrupt service. So there is some technology that you can put into pipes right now, but a lot of it is very expensive and very inaccessible to the municipalities.
Roxana, ¿cómo puedo detectar y reparar fugas en tuberías subterráneas de manera eficiente? Who can I access to detect and repair leaks in underground people?
So this actually has to do with ModMod. So what we have done is created a robot that is autonomous, meaning it can go by itself. We don't need to control it. And the idea is to put it into a system and allow it to swim by itself, map the system, and detect any pressure changes, any acoustic issues, and it actually comes with a video too, a video camera that collects information. So what you're doing is you're trying to look for leaks, cracks, any changes in pressure that could indicate a potential failure in the pipe. So that is something different that is being done right now and with our company, and why we started this, because it's also a much more accessible way to check your water pipes. So your drinking water, your morning coffee is important to you. So you want to know what's going on with your water pipes. Now, the more efficient way to do that and the better way to do that is to make it easier for municipalities to do it. So with our robot, we made it cheaper for them. And it does more. It's mapping out the system and it's giving them a system that says, oh, this pipe, it might fail within the next 5 years. So this is where you need to go.
5 years.
There's some old pipes. We've had so many water breaks in Detroit. The biggest one, I believe in February, there was a big water main in Southwest Detroit. And that comes from, you have your math, you have your plans, and you have some assessments, but at the end of the day, it is not the same as actually going into the pipe and seeing what's in there. So when that water main break, we absolutely took it as a sign that we're in the right area, we're doing the right work, because this will ultimately help cities like Detroit prevent breaks. So that's the idea.
Right, Roxana, pero ¿qué herramientas y tecnologías están disponibles para ayudar en el mantenimiento y reparación de tuberías? What tools and technologies are available to assist in pipeline installation and repair?
So actually it connects to what I was saying. So the tool that we have is an autonomous robot. It is about this long.
For example?
Yes. And we're actually making it smaller. So the thing that a lot of municipalities struggle with is expense, because municipalities don't have a lot of money for these fixes. When it comes to water infrastructure, it is very, very much underfunded. It needs to have more funding, but because we can provide them with a tool that is more accessible to them, whether it's structurally or financially, they're very excited about this. And the tools in it that are very exciting to us is for the robot to be able to do this by itself without having to be controlled. As you saw in our demonstration over there, the robot moves back and forth by itself. If it goes somewhere and it hits something, it knows to back up by itself. We don't need to tell it to back up. So that's the exciting part of these tools, is that because you don't have to go back in and take it out and put it back in and take it out, it is a new technology that is longer term. Eventually, we're doing a lot of research and development, but eventually we want our robot to stay in the system 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So that it maps out the whole system. We take that data, we give a report to the municipality and say, this is where all your critical areas are, so they can plan better. And if they see something is very critical, they can go in there.
Alright, pero Roxana, ¿cómo puedo analizar datos sobre mis activos de tuberías para predecir fallos y reducir costos? Who can I knowledge that about my pipeline assets, failures and reduce costs?
I love this question because the big thing that we're doing with this robot is collecting data. We're going into your water pipes and we're collecting data. And we're able to tell people this based on what we're seeing. Based on this, we're seeing a potential leak here, a potential crack here. It's great, and we're giving that information to the municipality. But the other thing is about actually predictive modeling. So predictive modeling means utilizing that data to then say, what's the likelihood of another pipe that's just like this to fail? So the more data we have, the better. And so by being able to go into these systems and collect all this data, we're collecting so much information that will help us in the future.
Yeah. Thank you. ¿Qué tipo de análisis de datos puedo realizar para mejorar la eficiencia y la confiabilidad de mis tuberías? What type of data analysis can I perform to improve the efficiency and reliability of my pipelines?
Yeah, so typically what you assess in pipes is criticality. So you assess how critical a potential crack or a leak is, and you also analyze its condition, what condition the pipe is in. So we are approaching it from those two measures, being able to measure their criticality and condition, because there's actually not a straight standard across the industry. One state might measure it one way, one city might measure it a different way, Texas measure it completely differently.
Very good.
We're hoping that the more data we collect, the more we can standardize these tools to analyze the data and be able to say, when we get this level of change in pressure, this is what that means. Or when we see this leak, this type of leak, this is what that means.
Ok. Roxana, ¿cómo puedo utilizar modelos productivos para anticipar problemas en mis tuberías? Who can I use predictive models to anticipate problems in pipelines?
Yeah. So in a way, that's what we use already, but the data we use for the predictive models is not complete. We're using plans, we're using math, and we're using other past breaks. And very, very rarely are we using actual inspection data.
Right.
By getting more data, we're going to get better at these predictive models, and hopefully that means good things for everyone.
Yes. Can you explain more for robotics for water, please?
The robotics part of it, yeah. So This is our Generation 2 or 3 model. As you saw earlier, there's a Generation 1 model. So the robotics part of it is actually quite complex. There are many components to the robot, and they are housed in a housing that protects the insides of it so that, you know, the PCB boards, nothing gets wet, nothing gets damaged. The coding on the robot is particularly of interest, and we have a lot of really amazing, smart engineers working a lot on all of the items that add on to how smart this robot is, how it's able to navigate by itself.
Okay.
So there's a lot of both mechanical engineering and robotic engineering that goes into building this robot, because this robot is being both built in a very intelligent way, but to function by itself, it needs a lot of very smart coding that I personally am not that great at. But that's why we have the smart people are in charge of those. Yes.
Thank you. ¿Cómo puedo organizar mis activos de tuberías de agua potable subterráneas de manera efectiva? Who can I organize and track my other equipment? What are popular assets?
So this is an interesting question. So this, if you're talking about like your own home, then the pipes are very small. They're like this small. So typically, yes, very small. If you're going into houses, those pipes are very small, so you're not going to have robots in your personal home pipes. The other piece is that typically pipes that are around businesses, they're not under the buildings, they're around the buildings. That's for a reason too. If you have a water main break, you don't want it to be under a building. So the way to track and organize that data is it's a little bit difficult, because sometimes different utilities and municipalities will collect their own data but not share it. We hope that we can encourage the sharing of a lot more data and being able to learn from each other. That doesn't mean folks don't. There's a lot of information you can find if you just ask. If you just talk to a municipality and you ask them, show us where all your water main breaks have been, they're happy to show us, right? But sometimes that information doesn't always get to everyone else, and frankly, why would a person in California want to know what happened in Detroit? But we do have to talk to each other a little bit more, I think. Yes.
Right. Entonces, find the question, ¿qué tipo de información debo recopilar sobre mis activos de tuberías para una gestión eficiente? What kind of information shall I collect about my public assets for efficient management? Yes.
Very good question. So I'll go by what we collect. We collect pressure, acoustics, and video. Pressure and acoustics is the measurement that will tell you where you have your leaks and your changes, but video will confirm what you're seeing on the other measurements, which is great for us. This is a robot. We're going to keep building it until it's super and then more super, right? So we're going to add more technology to it. We would love to add other technologies or utilizations, such as being able to detect stagnant water. So being able to prevent potential public health crises is another very important piece to us. So we have these 3 measurements, but we're going to do more. We're going to add more to this robot to make it smarter, to make it more efficient. And the great part about it is that we talk to municipalities, and they tell us too what they want to see, what they want to know. So hopefully, as we continue our pilots, we get even more feedback, and they'll tell us, but have you thought about measuring this? Or have you thought about measuring that? Being able to measure certain compounds in your water is also important, to know what's in your water. We're not there yet with this technology, but it doesn't mean we won't be.
Yeah. ¿Cómo puedo utilizar la tecnología para mejorar la gestión de mis activos de tuberías? How can I use technology to improve the management of my popular assets?
We love technology. Technology is our bread and butter. We are very happy about it. We love technology, and we try to use it in the smartest way to make it the most efficient. That means sometimes using AI modeling to help us predict things. That means teaching the robot to do things that we might have not thought about before. So technology is the core principle for us. Being able to use technology to make people's lives better is is our goal. We want to make sure that people have safe water, that they don't have water stop service to their homes because there is another water main break, or a boil water advisory is another thing that happens a lot with water main breaks. Something happens, you can't drink water, you have to either boil it or buy water bottles. We want to prevent those things using the technology we have. And the other part of the technology, at least I consider it technology, is using things like predictive modeling and AI to generate information that helps us be faster and better at detecting and recognizing when something's not okay in our water pipes.
¿Cuáles son las regulaciones y normas que debo cumplir para la gestión de activos de tuberías de agua potable subterráneas? What are the regulation standards that I must comply with for the asset management and underground ranking water pipelines?
So
this is something that I know a little bit less about, but in general, there are standards, safe water drinking standards that all municipalities have to follow. That means having safe infrastructure, that means having safe access, but that also means notifying people in advance if there's going to be work done, if their water service will be shut off. The problem that we're trying to solve is the stuff you can't predict, like a water break. We want to be able to predict that so we can be able to help folks stay ahead of times. And so you know if maybe someone is doing a dig up and replacing pipes in your area, you know ahead of time, and you're like, I'm gonna go on vacation this week.
Roxana, yes?
Yes,
I'm sorry, this. Oksana. Ok. ¿Cómo puedo asegurarme de que mi gestión de activos está en cumplimiento con las regulaciones y normas vigentes? How can I ensure that my asset management complies with current regulation standards?